Okay, it looks like we're ready to go. We apologize for that. We have some technical difficulties
But we're here.
here on the homestead, and that happens as we're still trying to figure out all this technology and the gadgets and the gizmos. But welcome. We're so glad you're here. Welcome to Maplewood Homestead. And my name's David.
I'm Nancy.
And we're so glad that you were able to join us. And I was thinking just the other day that when I was in the kitchen, I saw two olives on the counter, and I noticed that one of the olives rolled off the edge of the counter. I'm not sure how that happened, but it hit the floor. Maybe I knocked it over. I'm not sure. But the other olive rolled to the edge of the counter and looked down and shouted down, "Are you all right?"
The olive talked.
The olive did talk. I'm telling you, it's like annoying orange or something. The olive talked, and the olive on the ground yelled back up to the olive on the counter, "Olive!"
Oh my gosh.
This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Two olives talking to each other like that.
It doesn't matter if I've heard that before or not. It's always funny because he tells it. I'm just pulling up my chat here. Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
What happens when you take the six most common foods grab?
You gotta turn that down. And
turn it down.
We're turn it down. We're being told to not speak so loud today. Turn things down.
Well,
it's like pretty soon we're gonna be so old we're gonna be turning the hearing aids up. What did you say that?
Well, our chat today is supposed to be about the spirit of resilience and then training ourselves and training our characters, right?
Right.
And our children's characters. But before we get into the meat of it,
yeah,
let's talk about what's been going on our homestead and what are you looking forward to this year?
Well, I tell you what, we got some really interesting things going on here at the homestead. What I don't know if you've made a video about this,
What?
about the rolls of hay, the hay bale, not the hay bales, but those big rolls of hay.
Bales of big.
Yes.
Mhm.
What was really interesting is Nancy found a really good deal on these hay bales. Not bales, they're rolls.
They are.
They're
round,
rolls.
they're
Round bales. Round bells,
Mhm.
that's it. Round bells. Bells?
Bales.
Bales. Bales. Round bales. I'll get it sooner or later. Take number 45, all right? So these hay round bales.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, pull it and just. Okay, we'll use this.
We're gonna get some better mics, I think.
There you go. It won't be very loud, but now you guys can speak at full volume then.
All right. So you guys let me know if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear us. Sorry about that.
All right, thumbs up. All right, I see a thumbs up there.
No, that's a
That's
that
cousin
was-
Vinny.
yeah, but that was for please hold, not
Oh.
audio.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, remember there's like a minute and a half delay-ish, so it's going to be a second.
All right, give us another thumbs up if you can hear us.
They should be able to hear you now. Just
All
keep
right.
talking. I'll let you know if it's still not working.
Sounds good.
We apologize for the technical difficulties.
Can you hear us? Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good to see some folks here in the chat. So we'll get to you here in just a minute. We're just working out some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm going to just keep talking. We were talking about peaches, so I'm looking forward to peaches.
Okay, we're looking forward to
I'm
peaches.
looking forward to peaches. Started counting them on the trees
video froze
and
as
everything.
well.
No, it might just,
No, it didn't. It's cool.
no, we have good
Okay.
It might just be her internet.
Okay, so scratch. Take two. Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Cheers.
Sorry about that. The audio is not going to be amazing because we're using the camera audio. As you know, until we get monetized, we're punting with the best equipment we have. Maybe it's a Temu special. I don't know. But welcome back. David was just saying he's looking forward to peaches this season, so I hope I don't disappoint. Carrie says she can hear now. So we have Joyful Farmer here. I know she has a channel. Please feel free to check her out. Cousin Vinny also has a channel. Please feel free to check him out. We're glad that you're here. And maybe those two, because they're farmers. They're actually do. I feel like I'm always learning with the gardening thing. I'm continuing to learn. And the video I'm dropping tomorrow morning talks about our journey with the gardening. And I think we've had much more of a success with learning livestock, which is kind of good because it's not as bad when plants die as when animals die. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm looking forward to maybe having peaches this year too. The thing is I always space and forget to spray every 2 weeks. So that's my fault. I'm going to get out there every 2 weeks until harvest and spray. That's a commitment.
It's an absolute commitment out there. But I was encouraged because I don't know that we've actually had that many peaches or what do you call them, buds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I started counting them. I'm like, okay, now I have to stop because we have that many, and it looks beautiful. And I'm like, okay,
the blossoms were gorgeous.
Right, what do we got to do
Mm-hmm.
in order to keep these things so that they actually turn into peaches? Do I eventually need to sit outside there, camp outside at night with my, AR-15 or shotgun to keep the birds away or something too? Because
I don't think it's the birds.
bulletproof netting, something.
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
It's the bugs. It's the June bugs.
The June bugs. Okay.
So if any of you have any expertise in raising peaches, please feel free to shoot me a message and let me know how I can best accommodate Mr. Maplewood here and making sure that he gets his peaches this year. And I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to.
What are you looking forward to?
I am super looking forward to Matthew the moderator, our youngest son, and I are launching on a journey, a learning curve. More and more we've been looking into medicinal herbs and using them. We've been using them with the goats more. We've dabbled with them as we've foraged on our property. But I ordered this. It's called the Ultimate Medicinal Herb Collection by Survival Garden Seeds. And so I'm super excited about planting those. I don't know, you can't see it because of the thing. Sorry.
Move that, Matthew.
It's not that. It's because of
the
way
the
the
green
mannequin
screen.
does it.
Great.
There it is.
The green screen.
And
because it's green.
I bought the book, The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, that so many people have raved about. So because we get to homeschool, this is going to count as an elective for Matthew, and it's something that Matthew and I can do together and learn about more herbals. And our product line, we have a soap line, a goat milk soap company called Sentinel Soap. Right. And you can find us online at sentinelsoap.com. Shameless plug. In addition to our goat milk soaps and shampoo bars, last year I started selling salves.
Right.
And I want to add some more of these to it. We did a jewel weed salve because poison ivy is big around here, and the people that buy it love it. and a comfrey and plantain salve, which is great for healing cuts and bruises and stuff. And I actually use that on my goat, the comfrey oil on my goat. So I'm excited about. That's what I'm excited about is learning and growing and doing it with my son. Like I think that's pretty cool.
I'm excited to see how that turns out as well. I know you've got some raised planters,
Yes.
raised planter beds or something like that. Now I think some of the herbs you may be planting in those things. I know you got some things in other plants and the other ones like strawberries or something like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out as well. That's exciting. I think it's also neat to see, especially in the springtime. I try to when I cut the grass and stuff here on the farm, that I try to target certain areas because, like you've pointed out to me, we've got, especially in the spring, you've got things that naturally grow in the grass that are good for those types of things. And so I don't want to necessarily mow all that stuff down, especially if it's something you've got your eye on and you need to somehow harvest that
Forage,
and forage and stuff. So you're going to have to point out that jewelweed again, because with my luck, I'm going to start tracing through there and I'm going to be in a patch of poison ivy.
It's down in the woods. You're good. You're
Oh,
good.
well, okay.
Are we doing okay with the sound, Matthew?
Cause Vinny says he can't hear it, but everybody else seems to be hearing it, so it might just be his internet.
Okay. Well, with that being said, like I'm glad that we can do that. Do you think we should talk about the topic at hand today?
Well, might as well jump into it as best we can, because I think that we're experiencing some of that right now.
Yes.
Our topic for tonight was resilience, or even resiliency, if you want to.
The spirit of resilience.
A spirit of resilience. I'll say that 5 times fast. My goodness. Right? And we're trying to be resilient tonight with technology issues, and if we have to, we're going to blame it on the storm that just went through, and we saw a bunch of lightning across the street. Well, lightning across the street. I mean, who knows? And then another one coming through here after this.
Yeah. But what is resilience?
Oh, I have a definition for you.
Yes.
Yes, I have a definition because I'm geeky that way. All right, my definition says this. Maybe yours says something different. The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. That reminds me of when I was a kid, as a Gen X or whatever. It's like basically pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
Get tough.
Yeah.
Like you're weak, get tougher, get stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, rub some dirt on it, put some duct tape on it. Get going.
Do you feel okay? So technology has made life really great in some ways.
Right.
And in other ways, it's kind of spoiled us. Do you think? Like that fast food mentality, the microwave mentality. What do you guys think? Has technology spoiled us in some aspects, and how does that play out when it comes to resilience? I want you guys to think about that for a minute, and let me know what you think, because I feel like.
Well, and we don't want this to be necessarily an English class lesson or anything, but because I would like to believe that for maybe large operation farmers, for example, technology's probably been a big help. I mean, they've been able to use GPS and right there in their tractors and being able to plow and do all this other stuff that they do that granted, before it was all by sight, by hand, by memory, and maybe they kept a log of it and whatnot over the years, or just passed down from that knowledge from one generation to the next. But then, it's a double-edged sword, because the other side of it is technology can drag you down. You can get sucked into that black hole of a pit and not get up and get outside and get moving and get your hands dirty and touch grass. I mean, for us, we've got to learn how to balance that as best we can.
Yeah. Well, I think I guess what I mean by that is why do, like our listeners and like us, why would we choose a harder lifestyle? Because let's face it, we talked about this with the last live stream about our why, because we had a run of just difficult situations, and being older people, you get more resilient over time because you have to bounce back. You hit these walls and you have to bounce back. But honestly, having the farm and especially raising livestock, or even if you have crops and you're depending on, even if it's a small little garden, something like it just went through, if it had brought hail, it would have wiped out anything that I might, which I did not as of right yet, transplant anything outside. it could have wiped out what I've already started, which can be kind of defeating when you've waited a long time.
And that something like that I want to say happened to us, was it last year or the year before, where we already had stuff in the ground planted, and then all of a sudden this weird freeze came through, and I don't remember the percentage of what it knocked out, but it was quite a bit if I remember right.
Well, I think why we're so excited about the peaches is that it has happened more years than not with our peaches.
That's true.
And the last time we had a frost and a freeze here, I thought, that's it, we're not going to get peaches again. So I think that's part of the reason why we're so fired up about peaches. So, but just the whole concept of choosing, especially with children, a lot of people are now choosing. There's a Joel Salatin talks about there's a homesteading tsunami, because we kind of were on the bandwagon before it was a bandwagon. We moved here back in 2017. However, we had been watching for longer than that, probably about 3 years before that, a lot of different homesteading videos, and whatever you call it, farm, homestead, whatever. And so that's before there was a large population of people doing this. It was coming into vogue, I guess, but it's not, okay, I think of things like Pinterest and Instagram, and they make it look very glamorous, and when you're mucking poop, it's not that glamorous.
Oh, that's not glamorous?
No. And when you have to haul hay out that's been overwintering, doing the deep litter and hauling that out of the barn, that's not very glamorous.
Although when you leave it up to teenagers to come up with some really inventive ideas on how to transfer and move said muck from the barn out to the garden or whatever, you let them, they get creative. Why? Because they don't want to use the wheelbarrow or the truck if we can't have to. So it was really cool. I wish we had some video of it to show you. Maybe you guys have done something like this before. We took the zero-turn lawnmower, and we had some rope, and we had some we had a tarp, and everyone just kind of threw a pile in there, and then drug it over to the garden, and then unloaded it. I mean, you got to get creative. Still work.
Yeah.
But I think that built some resilience into our lifestyle at that moment as well. It took the drudgery out of it.
I don't know if that's what resilience means.
I don't know either.
I was like, I don't think that's how that works.
Only because she said I.
But I do know, I felt this. When we talked about our why last week, I felt this. I felt this when Finley, we raised Finley from a baby. She was born here, and I was excited because she's got good conformation. And when she finally came of age to have a kid this year, I go, and the miscarriage happened.
Right.
Like that really hit me. Like that really hit me. And Cindy says she's got it going through Bluetooth and she's still struggling. You can't hear us. Nobody can hear us. Okay, we're gonna move this. We're gonna move closer, David.
The audio's a bit low.
Okay, you zoom out and we'll move closer.
It's 3D coming at you.
That's scary.
All right, let me know if this is a little better. Okay, Duke, go. Duke.
No.
No, whoa, back it up a bit.
No, it has to be close. Sorry guys, this is probably the most crazy live stream we've done yet. We can't put the dogs outside because their yard's a puddle and the audio's not working. This is about resilience. This is case in point. Continuing to do what we need to do in spite of difficulties and just punting with it. I am. Holy smokes, if nothing else proves the case more, it's this, right?
I can try plugging in the other one, see if that's louder.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Right. Does that work? All right.
Joyful Father said, hi, Duke.
Thanks, Kendall. Did you see him? He's all up in my mug. So please let us know if this works better. And thank you so much for being patient as we learn this whole venue, okay? So you can use your teacher voice now.
Yes, I can use my teacher voice to project across the vastness of the cyberspace and the cloud. Yes, long-suffering probably is a good synonym, I think, for resilience, too, at this point.
That? That's
perseverance and patience. And
yes.
And the thing is, here's also what I get out of resilience is that you had mentioned, Nancy, that over time, that's supposed to make you tougher. Only if you allow it to, though.
True.
Like you actually have to have the mindset
to go, I want to be trained by this,
True.
or I'm going to not give in to the failures and I'm going to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get tougher and I get wiser and I put another foot forward and then another foot.
Yes.
You have to do that. That's otherwise, resilience means nothing if you're not willing to be trained by it.
Yeah, you're just kind of gutting through it.
Yeah, and gutting through it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to, but I'd rather learn from it.
It's like, okay, so I go back to the question. For those of you who dream of doing this and those of you who are doing it, why? Why do we choose this more difficult lifestyle? Why do we choose a lifestyle that is harder to live? I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about that too. But I know for me, personally, there's something when you work hard and you can step back and look at it and go, that's good. That's real good. For instance, getting your garden ready. I don't know how many of you did this. You worked hours and sweat like crazy getting your garden ready for planting. And then you step back and you go, that's good. That's really good.
I mean, ours looks beautiful right now, and it doesn't have anything growing in it other than a couple weeds here and there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Talking about resilience and what did you have to do today while I was at work? Because I felt absolutely frustrated by the fact that that I was at work and I couldn't help you with what you needed to do. So what happened there?
We turned the hot wire off for some reason. We have our fencing and then we have one hot wire up the top, and it's so that the animals that are in stay in, specifically not so much the goats. Typically, it's not usually the goats. It's almost never ever the goats. It's Thor. So anyway, somehow the goats go to get the grass. They realized that the hot wire was shut off, and they started climbing on the no climb fence, which means they just put their hooves up to reach the leaves, which meant after a while they pulled down that, and I come out to Sophie and Finley and Charm looking at me. And so
were they up by the house? Or
yes.
What? Oh, they wanted to come in and visit.
Yeah. Okay. So, nah. So anyways, that was frustrating because I had a lot of other things to do. Now, that pales in comparison to some of the other things, like when you had to put down the baby goat.
Sure.
But they're all things that just wear at you. But I think you don't have to live just this lifestyle, because life in and of itself, even without living this lifestyle, there's enough challenges to keep you pushed in the direction of learning how to be resilient, growing as a person. I know a couple of the people that are on here, I personally know that they have had issues that they have had to persevere and be resilient this year. Kendall says, value, fulfillment, and joy. Definitely. We're doing this lifestyle because ultimately it does there is a value to it. Why is there so much value to growing our own food and the fulfillment? It's God-given. I feel like it's God-given. Like, I don't know. I really feel like there's, in one sense, this kind of seems off topic, but in one sense, it's like participating with the creator as he creates gives me a sense of joy. Watching babies born I got to be a part of that God allowed me to be a part of him creating. Watching the creator create things gives me great joy.
My joy comes from, after, maybe it's just a man's perspective, is that it's after a hard day's work, and being able to sit down and look what I've been allowed to do, in the freedom that we have in this country, and blessed by God to be able to go, wow, I cut the grass today, I slopped the pigs, I wrangled ducks and chickens
on my farm.
On my farm.
And Kendall says her husband says it's never nothing.
What do you mean?
The value that we have, that we find in this life, it's never nothing.
It's never nothing?
Yeah. Meaning there's always something
that
we can find. Like you were saying, there's some, like even cutting the grass, you need something. And again, you can say that even if you don't have a homestead or a farm or you're not raising animals, but I definitely feel like it's been heightened. So then when you do hit the hard things, that's what you come back to. It goes back to what we were talking about last week about your why. And the beauty of it, and what I also wanted to talk about, is raising children in this environment and teaching them to put other things they're not the center of everything. I think we have a culture that makes not just kids, but all of us, we are the center of the universe when we're really not, that there are others we have to coexist with. And I think having the little farm and having to take care of other creatures that are dependent upon you is actually very good training. And when things go wrong with those creatures, it teaches the kids resilience too. So Joyful Farmers, what is Joyful Farmers? Kendall, what's your husband's name?
Joe.
Says that Kendall, you don't know.
Oh,
He means there's always another thing to deal with around here, but it's all good in the end. Yeah, it's a never-ending chore list. Like, you have to be resilient and resigned to the fact that the chore list never ends. It never ends.
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
Look, I have a whole list over there.
No, we're not turning the camera to the honey-do list. That's over yonder.
There's got a lot that got done.
It is. We're looking at that. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, buck pen cleaned up. All right, yeah, okay. We still got to do the darn it. We still have to do that.
And the extension, turning that pig pen into the buck extension.
Yeah, that's right. Sounds like some office at the university, the extension office for the buck pen. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, those are some upcoming things. Might as well, since that's a good transition. So, because I want to talk more about what's going on out here, like we started. And
he's
the buck, yeah,
he's the boss.
Yeah, the buck pen needs to be extended. But with this rain and stuff coming through, it's still a pig pen on that side where the pigs were originally.
But honestly, did you look out? There's stuff growing in there now.
Yeah. I want it to grow up so the bucks will have something to eat.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting in there and taking out that middle fence, really, more than anything else.
Well, here's something interesting.
Yeah.
I don't mind mentioning this. Just for the month of April, we're going to talk about the month of April because the next thing we have a surprise to tell you about the next time we come on. But the next live stream we'll have something else to talk about.
Okay.
But before the next live stream, I'm transitioning to something completely different.
Yes.
I'm doing the woman spaghetti thing. He's still stuck in the waffle thing. So I'm leaving that section. I'm going to the next thing. So I'm going to be going next weekend, and I'll be gone for the weekend. And the rest of the family will be taking care of the farm, which is fine because David's got it under control.
I forgot until she said it just now. Oh, man.
Heads up.
Oh, man.
I am going, and I cannot wait to go. In Dixon, Tennessee, there's a Women's Homesteading Society conference. And I went last year, and it was different than what I expected it to be. I actually came back very encouraged and refocused because it's very easy when you have a homestead or a farm to try to make an income off of it, and that can slowly become why you're raising food, but that's not originally why we started raising our own food. So last year that kind of helped. I didn't even know that was a need in my life, and so that pivoted me and kind of straightened me out. So I'm looking forward to whatever it is that I'm going to be learning this year that I didn't know I was supposed to learn, because I didn't know I was supposed to learn that last year. And it was just a great time to be around other women who live this lifestyle, who live my kind of crazy, and who deal with the issues I deal with. I mean, not a lot of my friends, a few of you here, can I talk to about a congested udder and you get it. Like, I can't go to church or to the library or in passing at the supermarket and talk about a congested udder and how bad that was to deal with it. So it is nice to be around another group of women for the entire weekend and just talk about stuff like that.
And talk about congested udders.
Whatever, you know what I mean.
I know. I had that visual in my head about standing in line at the Walmart and talking about congested udders.
Nobody cares.
And nobody cares. What? You did what?
Or how many of you had come up with an analogy on your brain and you look at the next person, you're like, oh, that's like, and you're like, yeah, you wouldn't get that. You would, no.
Hey, look, some funny things happen on the homestead, okay? And I'm glad that we've learned some resilience, because you can look back now and you can laugh about some of those times that were hard.
Yeah.
And where you did have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps because there really wasn't going to be anybody else out there at that moment, anyways.
I really feel like for the kids, I feel like it's been good. I feel like they have a healthier relationship with two things that I feel like had we stayed in the city and not done this, they wouldn't have the same kind of understanding about, and that is procreation and death.
Right.
I think it's put those two things well into perspective. Um, I think our culture is a little sterilized to both of those things, like the true meaning of one and there's something about when you have to look death in the face, like literally, or when you're processing your own animal. That was hard the first time because we eat meat all the time, but we're not connected to the fact that something had to die for us to eat that.
Well, it just goes back. Okay, when I was growing up, even though my grandparents had chickens and there was horses that was raised around and in a small garden here and there, and yes, we processed our own chickens from time to time, and so we could eat farm raised chickens. The thing is, I grew up that way, but I still had this disconnect of where did the majority of my food actually come from.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I had that little experience growing up because I was able to, kind of fall back on that here in life now, as you and I are doing this full time to the best of our ability. But so many kids that I work with, they have no real tangible understanding of where their food comes from unless it's at Walmart or some grocery store or something like that, the Piggly Wiggly or something. That's where their food. That's not where the food.
David's a teacher.
That's not where the food
really
comes from. No,
yeah.
Someone has to process that information or the information. You got me thinking like a teacher now. Someone had to kill that animal.
Yeah.
Prepare it, whatever it was, and then put it in there. If I talk to some friends that I know that work at Tyson Foods, for example, I bet you they know where that food comes from. They they truck in those chickens and stuff, and they process them there. But outside of that, a lot of kids nowadays don't know.
Yeah, and it's not really our fault. I mean, I grew up not knowing, but I think it makes them.
It makes our kids more appreciative.
Well, it's resilience, but I don't know how to explain it. It's understanding that death. I don't know. Death is a necessary part of our existence.
Right.
And there's something to be said for that. It does develop something in your character, I think.
Sure.
Because it's still not, processing animals is still not the easiest thing to do. But you definitely have to be in a different headspace to be able to handle that.
I mean, even with the different tasks that we do here on the farm, there are some processing that I'm the one who does it. There's others that Nancy, you can do.
The pig, he has to do pig. Yeah. Or if we will eventually, I see it in our future, process goat, and it will be probably extra dairy goats. And I'm the one that works with the goats, so it would probably have to be him. I don't have a problem with the chickens and the rabbits. That's easier for me to handle. But as the nurturer, that's kind of the hard one.
Yeah.
And that's where I've had to grow in my resilience. It actually has helped. It's changed my character. And that's where I was kind of going with this. It's changed my character and the way I view things by raising animals and caring for animals, but also using animals as food. It has definitely changed me. I would be interested to hear, do you feel, in your experience, if you have processed animals, has that changed who you are in some core part of your being? I would be interested to know. Do you feel like it's changed you? I feel like guys don't process it the same way as women process it. What do you think?
I don't think we process it the way that women do. That natural tendency to be the nurturer from the woman's side, I think creates a stronger emotional attachment to an animal.
Yeah.
And perhaps one reason for that is even if we personify animals, giving them humanistic qualities to kind of explain their behaviors.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Where they show us affection. They show us love, and it seems like a goat could get depressed, for example. And
There are some that do.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I mean is and because we can identify that because those are human characteristics and human feelings, we feel perhaps a little bit closer connection to those animals. Of course, you're not going to feel that way for a crop that grows out of the field. You're going to be upset if it gets ruined because that's either A, your livelihood, or B, that's food off your table.
And you can't personify it.
And you can't personify it.
Cauliflower.
Now, unless we're writing some creative narrative story or something.
Yeah.
But,
now, Vinny and Kendall might be able to personify the cauliflower. I'm not sure, but
yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. So for the guy, we it's a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a now for
there
me
is
there's
a tug. There is a tug.
A little bit of a tug, but there's a healthy respect for that animal.
Yeah.
Because I have still put in my blood, sweat, and tears into raising that animal to the best of my ability and being a good steward. And I believe God calls me to do that.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that that animal has had the best life possible and have that one bad day.
And hopefully it'll be quick.
And make it quick when it's time. And I've got to get in the mindset, kind of like a doctor does when they go to work, a surgeon or something when they go to work. Mm-hmm. So I do think guys process it much differently.
Yeah.
Much differently.
Winslow Farm says, and I'm going to assume this goes back to taking care of the animals. It instills responsibility because we were talking about the kids. Right. And I definitely feel like it does. I feel like we could leave the farm and the kids could totally handle everything here if we had to leave the farm. So Kendall says it's made me more appreciative of them, but also when we do, I'm not as shocked. It is what it is. One sad day, but a full freezer is an accomplishment.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's putting animals in their rightful place. They were created for us, and we are to be good stewards of that. And I feel like that's being a good steward. The animals we raised for meat, and knowing that. I think that's what made it hard when we had to cull Maple's deformed baby. Is we knew it was not going to have a quality of life, and it was merciful to put it down. But it was more difficult because we weren't in that headspace from the beginning that this particular animal was going to be for meat.
Well, and I think that just goes to show you that no matter how well we think we're prepared and all the planning that we do and like, oh yeah, I'll be in the right mindset and everything, God goes, okay, let me teach you something else. Now, that's the way you and I choose to look at it, that God had taught us something through that and increased our resilience and made us a little bit tougher, but also made us more compassionate. And so I would argue that compassion is part of resilience, that, okay, this is a mercy here in this case.
I definitely felt that was probably the toughest thing that we've done since we've been here. And I'm sure there's more to come, but I think it was an important conversation to have, is that those of us who live this lifestyle know it's not that easy, and it can be glorified on social media. And there is a glory to it. There is something beautiful about working hard and sleeping well at the end of the day. There's something actually very satisfying. Actually, what gives me a lot of satisfaction, and I know Cindy can vouch for this, is I breed the rabbits, I raise the rabbits, I doctor the rabbits if necessary, I dispatch the rabbits, I cook the rabbits, I feed my family with the rabbits. And to step back and look at a meal on your plate where all of the components, or the majority of the components, God allowed you to do that. He made it grow, but you put forth the effort to make it grow. That's deeply satisfying.
It is.
Deeply satisfying.
It is.
And I don't know why that is. Why do we choose the hard things? I just think because when we overcome and we've done the good thing at the end of the day, when we've done the thing at the end of the day, there's a sense of accomplishment that goes with that.
That's right.
And so even if it's hard, it's okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can't be afraid. Just can't be afraid if life's hard and if work's hard. Well, you shouldn't be afraid of that.
Another thing is, it's told me don't be afraid of messing up.
Well, right.
Like,
we're gonna mess up. Just little things of what you talked about just now kind of shatters this idea of it's an idyllic life, and it is.
Yeah.
It is, but
It has its
You
downside.
never know.
It's life.
You
It's
never,
a fallen
you
world,
never
and
know.
it has
That's right.
Has
Right.
its downside.
That's right. But I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
So do you want to wrap up? Or?
Yeah, let's think about wrapping up here.
Yeah. We are certainly glad y'all made it out. So this was a little less organized, and it kind of threw us off all the technical difficulties at the beginning. So please continue to join us for the live streams. We promise they'll get more and more. I think next time we meet, we talked about possibly doing a Q&A. So if you can think of any questions you'd like to ask us, we'll start the format with a little bit of talk about what's going on and
Sure.
what we've done, and then we will launch into questions and answers. It will be the first Thursday in March that we will be meeting for the next live stream.
Not March. May.
March.
May. I'm thinking, wait a minute, March.
I'm on rewind.
It's the 1st of May?
The first Thursday in May. What date is that?
I don't know. I'm looking right now.
The 2nd?
First,
No.
it is the 2nd.
The 2nd. Wait. That might be a technical difficulty.
Only if we're leaving that day.
Okay. All right. Well, I will keep you posted. I will put out when our next live stream is that day. And so we thank you so much for joining us.